What's up, YouTube Gen X? Black men are viewing what is going on currently, and we're taking it very seriously because we're at the point where if we can't make it work, we might as well divorce, right? And when you have a divorce, you have a clean break. You go your way, I go my way. There's no children involved, so your well-to-do progressive black men are not the ones with kids. So it's even that much of a cleaner break where we don't have to speak to each other, right? You know, even if they had a law saying that you couldn't date or marry interracially, well, there's no law saying that I'm obligated to fuck with you, right? You know, so if we have to stay single or do whatever, then, you know, it is what it is. But we're definitely viewing it very seriously because for us, this is supposed to be, you know, the whole home, relationship, family, that is supposed to be our safety net. That's supposed to be our safety zone. That's supposed to be our area where we can relax, right? You know, you're going off into the classroom and into the corporate world or whatever you do, blue collar or white collar, and you know you're dealing with a whole bunch of bullshit, whether you're owning something or whether you're an employee. You know you're dealing with a whole lot of bullshit. You know, you're worried about finding a job, or you're worried about, you know, still being underemployed, or you're worried about your job security, or you're worried about why you're not being promoted and advanced to the same degree in which other people are, right? You know, you've been there for 5 years. Some white guy comes in, he's only been there for 2 years, and he's like your superior now, and it's like, what's going on, right? You know, or if you're a business owner trying to, you know, deal with all the shit that goes into owning your own business, right, which isn't as easy as people want to say it is. So you're dealing with all that. You know, you're progressive, well-to-do black men, so you feel like you want to come home and chill and relax and get your battery recharged so you can go out the next day and do what you have to do, right? You know, you want to put down your sword and your shield, and you want to be in a warm, loving environment where you're understood, you understand that the person you're with, and you know you guys can help each other deal with your issues and at the same time come together. Yeah, there's going to be problems. You know, there's going to be areas of concern, which is natural, right? But what we see now between black men and women, this isn't natural. You know, it's not one of those, this is a normal problem. It's like there's some other shit going on, right? So for us, we're taking it, excuse me, we're taking it a whole lot more seriously. And for y'all viewing this as a separation. The separation. When you have a couple that's separated, what happens? They're still together, but they're mad at each other, so they're going to say they want to take a break. And it's not because they can't fix the problem. They want to take a break, so they'll hold on to an issue and say, well, I'm not going to budge, I'm not going to budge, well, maybe we should be separated. And oftentimes they'll create more bullshit issues or you know, manufacture pseudo problems to keep the beef going because they want to break from each other, but they don't want that person to go. And you know how that is, right? I like staying mad at you because I know I can say or do whatever, right? And eventually we're both going to come back together, you know, talk about how we feel. I love you still. I have feelings for you. Oh, baby, I want to make it work. It is what it is on that TV drama bullshit. So it really doesn't matter what you say, right? Because we're obligated to come back together, right? You know, if you didn't want to make it work, why did you get a separation? You should have divorced me or you should have broke up with me. That's why black men are saying, you know what? Yeah, it's better if we break. It's better if we divorce, right? But the women are viewing it differently. So right now, I feel like they're playing games. They're playing the whole, we want to stay mad at you. So we're going to constantly find whatever we can find to blame on you because we know that we're still going to have this sort of sit-down meeting and you're going to come through and say, oh, baby, I love you, I'm sorry, black family, black love, black culture, and you're going to say the same and we're all going to go off into the sunset. Nope, that's not happening, right? Like I said, most of your black men have already come to terms with the reality of the black community. right? It's not easy, but once again, a lot of your black men feel like there's no blood on their hands, and I feel that way. So as much as the future looks bleak, I don't feel like there's blood on my hand. Anybody's blood is on my hand. I really don't feel that way, right? You know, what's that saying? Ye without sin cast the first stone. Well, we feel like we're throwing stones. You know, we're the first in line with boulders and shit, you know, because you have nothing on us, right? It literally, it's like on some like Law and Order shit where you're sitting down in the interrogation room and they're trying to get you to, you know, admit to a crime, and you're sitting back and you're like, you have nothing on me. Can you let me go? Right? Or can you give me some water? Can you do something for me, because I know you ain't got nothing on me. That's how we feel right now, right? But it's a lot of women that want to stay mad, right? You know, they want to have the freedom to go off and do what they want to do, but at the same time know that we're supposed to have this sort of reunification, right? Where we just pardon what happened in the past. So, oh, baby, it doesn't matter what you did. Oh, honey, it doesn't matter what you did. We have to come together, right? And for a lot of your black men, we understand now that y'all feel like you're forced to be with black men. So you holding on to this idea of blackness and black love is not something that you did on your own. It's a reaction to not being able to go off and assimilate into mainstream culture. So as a reaction, you're on some like blackness, 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 and you can see it, right? You know, and also going back to the whole playing games, like I said in a couple of videos ago, black men will make a point, the women will fight it, right? Then they'll tippy-toe over to a black woman that's kind of saying the same shit we're saying and say, oh girl, you're so right, can you please make more videos, can you help us out, yada yada yada, I can't find a man, you know, I want to be this loving mother, this loving wife. Black men say the same thing, and it's like, fuck you nigga, yada yada yada, right? And for me, it's like a sign y'all playing games right now, right? You know, it's almost as if you got the women that will say their comments and say how they feel, right? But go back and say, oh, please, I hope he knows I'm playing. Oh, girl, I don't want him to leave. Oh, what am I doing? I can't help myself. I'm just dooming myself. And it's like, you kind of are, right? Because black men are saying, we're not playing. See, I can understand if black men we were playing the game. I don't know if this happened in the 90s or the 80s where it was kind of understood that we're play fighting. But now the men are saying, nah, we playing for reals. So if I'm at a serious level and you're at a playful level, I'm not going to come down, right? You know, it's up to you to come up to my level of seriousness. You know, you don't go from being serious to going to being playful. It doesn't happen that way, right? So you sit back and you're like, you know, you don't even know if the women can help themselves. I really don't know what needs to happen. You know, all I can say is this once again, you know, it's not about using non-black women as bait, right? They're almost irrelevant because those are brand new problems, right? You know, it's not that the grass is greener, it's more so that, yo, this grass is dead, right? And we can't make it grow, right? But, you know, on the other side of the fence, I gotta, you know, do my fair share of work there as well, right? But this is more so about the whole, we're obligated to make it work with each other. We're obligated to come together and pardon and forgive each other, which is not the case. We don't have to. Right? You know, black men are saying, we're not playing. Right? You know, we're dealing with too much when it comes to employment security, finding employment, whether you're blue collar, white collar, being underemployed, or being in a position where you're not being promoted as fast as all your non-black coworkers are, or even if you're owning your own business, all the issues that you have with trying to make money and, you know, making yourself competitive and marketable or whatnot. So we're saying we're trying to come home and have a peace of mind. Not to say that it's going to be perfect. Obviously, men and women will always have problems. That's natural. But we have too many man-made, pre-planned sort of issues, and it's like, what's going on right now? Right? You know, we don't got time for all that. Right? You know, and the dumb part about it is, like I said before, your non-black women that feel like they only want to exclusively mess with black men, they see the bullshit. You know, there's not too many of them, but they're sitting back and they're like, I don't have to, you know, seduce Jamal to want to be with me. All I have to do is show Jamal that he can come home and not have to worry about the bullshit. I'm not going to be a pushover, but Jamal knows that I'm not going to try to fight him, and I'm going to be considerate of the day that he's had. Right? You know, black men will say, damn, I don't have a lot in common with her, but I kind of do like the fact that I get to come home and I look forward to coming home. Or I look forward to, you know, coming home on a Friday and saying, hey, let's go out and we have a good time. You know, you're not worried about any bullshit or any drama or, you know, somebody that wants to pick a fight with you, somebody that wants to be mad at you for whatever reason, right? You know, and you don't even know why they're mad. And, you know, you sit back and you're like, y'all playing a game, right? And I'm not going to play that game with you. You know, just because you want to feel like you're being pursued or you're desired or the fact that you want to feel like you're somebody's one and only. Like, there's too much going on right now. You know, there's too much at stake for all that shit, right? You know, so for me, I'm definitely at a point where it's like, I'll just sit back and watch, right? Because I know that the vast majority of women are playing a game. It's the game. And they're viewing it as a separation. And there's not much that you can do if you're telling them, I'm not playing a game, I'm looking at a divorce, and they're not hearing you. You know, they take that as part of the game. Oh, really? You want a divorce? Oh, well, go leave then. Go get your divorce. Matter of fact, let me help you file. Go to this website. I'll go to the lawyer and pick up the paperwork. Right? Sign it, nigga. Sign it. And niggas is like, I'm signing the document. Right? I'm going for the divorce. And it's like, no, you're not. Paper is signed, paper is filed. Okay. Right? I didn't know you were being that serious. I was just venting, yada, yada, yada. You know, black women have it as hard. Our beauty's undermined, yada, yada, yada. And then you get the backtracking. Right? Then you get the sort of, well, I was just emotional, or, you know, it was up to you to understand what black women are going through. And it's like, yeah, I did all that. And I'm still telling you I'm not playing. I understand what you're going through. I understand your day-to-day struggle. Right? I understand that we're in the same boat, but I'm still not playing with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still looking at the whole divorce as an option. Right? So anyways, that's my vid. Y'all take it easy. God bless.